So folks, if you own one of these, an iPhone or something like it, and you've used the mapping application on it, then you have used GIS. And that is what we're talking about here today in advance of a big conference coming up in the city next week. I'm joined by Richard and Tony, the president and vice president of the Manitoba GIS User Group. Got it right?
Correct.
All right. So for people out there who've never heard the term GIS, Richard, tell us what that is.
It's an acronym for Geographic Information Systems, and basically it's geography with computers. Anything that's spatial and it has a coordinate is GIS.
So maybe give me an example of how people would encounter this on a daily basis.
Say, for example, you're looking to get to a location and you want to type into your Street View or your Google Maps and you put in your postal code. It's going to take you to a certain spot, but with that certain spot, you'll find a number of attributes or data with that spot. So you'll find your postal code, maybe the homeowner's name, maybe the street address, and with that, you can even have more information. You could have census data, property tax information. So it's basically a lot of data attached to a certain spot in the world.
Now, obviously that's pretty important, and especially as technology grows in the world, people are going to want this kind of technology more and more. Is that right?
Yeah, it's exploding. I mean, there's so many different professions that are using GIS. I can't name them all. You have archaeologists, agrologists, engineers, hydrologists. Everyone's using it for different levels.
So Tony, give us a few examples of locally some of the organizations perhaps that are professionally using this on a daily basis that people might be able to identify with.
Well, I can provide you with the example, for example, that I use GIS in for my employer, Manitoba Conservation and Water Stewardship. I use GIS to help manage the forest inventory. So we're looking at collecting information on forest stands. We use aerial photography to capture that information. We then have a photo interpreter that looks at that aerial photography, identifies forest stands, the attributes associated with those, the height of the forest, the species of trees that are in that forest stand, and that information then gets used by forest industry, for example, to allocate potential harvest areas. It gets used by conservationists to determine what habitat is appropriate to conserve for example, caribou. That's one example that, for example, I'm familiar with in the forest industry. Others use GIS for recreation, for example, and they may not know it. If you have a GPS unit, you like to go fishing, you like to go hunting, oftentimes you'll carry one of those devices to know where you are, where the best pickerel spots are to go fishing. People are using spatial information often and they don't even realize it, or they're using GIS and they're not even realizing it. We have a lot of researchers that are in academia that are doing research on GIS, on climate change, use mapping technologies for that. So it's really a growth industry.
Well, and you're with hydro as well, right? And that's something that's very important in your day-to-day work as well.
My background with hydro is that right now I'm in vegetation management with our distribution asset and maintenance. And we use it for planning, use it for asset management. We also use it for planning. So a lot of our hydro stations that they're looking to build, they're doing a lot of their assessments and you're using it, any kind of environmental assessment, you're using GIS to do that.
So really, as all of us are walking around every day and things that many of us deal with all the time, it all kind of comes back to GIS. Like this is really becoming very prevalent and integrated into everything we do.
It is, yeah, and the term that often gets used now, or that is getting used, is spatial data infrastructure. The spatial information is becoming an infrastructure similar to roads and other infrastructures that we're familiar with. But with GIS and spatial information, you can't see it as obviously, but communicating, sharing that information amongst organizations, between organizations, is important for economic development and for really governing efficiently.
Well, and that's when we're talking about cross organizations. That's kind of where this conference comes in on Tuesday. That's coming up, the biggest one that you've held so far. So tell us about the conference that you guys are very excited about.
It is going to be the largest. We've actually exploded. It's probably one of the largest geospatial information events in Manitoba. We have a keynote speaker coming in from London, England. He's with Google, Mr. Ed Parsons. And we have the Deputy Minister of Manitoba Conservation and Water Stewardship coming. We have the President and CEO of Manitoba Hydro. He's the new president, going to be doing our opening conference remarks. Right now, we're looking to probably have about 500 people in attendance.
Excellent. So anybody can come, I assume?
Yeah, the conference is open to anyone. There is an admittance fee, but it will be a lot of GIS professionals, those that are in the GPS industry, in the remote sensing industry, anyone that uses GIS professionally. This is really a conference that's geared to them, but the general public may be interested as well. You know, the speaker from Google, our keynote, everybody's familiar with Google and the mapping technologies. You know, you've got your iPhone, you've got your mobile device, you want to get from point A to point B. Oftentimes you'll use Google. So I think people are going to be interested in that keynote, and they're by all means more than welcome.
Well, now let's say folks can't make it to the Victoria Inn on Tuesday. Where can they get more information about MGUG or about GIS in general? I know you guys have a website that details a lot of this.
Exactly. Our website is mgug.ca. And if we'll be also having Shaw filming the event, so if people want to turn in, they could see the keynote speaker address. But our main contact is our website.
All right, folks, thank you so much. Good luck with the conference, you guys. And this is, I think, something that we're going to be hearing a lot more about as time goes on. So thank you very much and good luck with things.
Thank you.